Faust Ellecon here, going to do a quick run through of a Equilibrium of Mankind capital shipyard event combat site. I'm going to do it in a Typhoon battleship with rapid heavy missiles. And undocking now, I'll go through the fit after I complete the site, but I'll show the fitting here real quick if you're just curious to see it right off the bat. Okay, so moving over to the probe scanner, you can find these sites. EOM Rogue Capital Shipyard in your probe scanner. You'll see right now we just have these two celestial beacons, the Encounter Surveillance System and the Jove Observatory. But as soon as we warp to this, I'm going to warp at 10 so I don't hit the acceleration gate. A beacon will pop up. So from running these sites previously, I believe that they are dead space, meaning that you cannot warp within the site. Also meaning that you should not be able to light a covert Sino, which is good because we have a cloaky camper in system. So assuming that I can make it into the site without any trouble from this fella here, we should be okay. I will keep D-scan open and do an occasional D-scan just to make sure that nothing is coming in behind me. You can see I've also got Intel open here to keep an eye on whether any hostile gangs are roaming in nearby systems. So I've got Inferno, Fury, heavy missiles loaded, and I chose Fury because it's one of the damage types these rats are most susceptible to. Their armor tank is more susceptible to kinetic, but shield more susceptible to thermal. So as you can see when you land, there's a warp disruption tower. I'm going to take that down real quick just in case I need to get off grid. Also kill this web tower. I just happen to have a lot more Inferno missiles in my hangar, so that's part of the reason why I went with them instead of the Scourge. But Scourge might be the ideal damage type since these ships do appear to be armor tanked. So right here we've got a Hoplo Chrisma. That's a logistics cruiser, so I'm going to primary that to make it easier to take down the rest of these ships. You can see them warping on and off grid here. They will try to stay within about 20 to 25 kilometers of you, so if you do try and burn away, kite away, shoot them from range, they will just keep warping off and then warping right back on top of you. So the second, I would normally go for these next, except that I know that these battle cruisers put out a massive amount of DPS relative to the other ships. So I'm going to go ahead and get it off grid real quick, and then we'll deal with these energy neuting ships, which they're doing 34, so I do have a large cap battery to fit, which will mitigate some of the incoming energy neutralization pressure. I've also got a cap booster just in case, for whatever reason, we get capped out, and I want to keep running my tank so I don't die. So unfortunately I didn't get this down before I hit reload, but since there's a bunch of other small ships, I'm going to go with the precision missiles now and see if I can take down these smaller ships. I can take them down more quickly with the precision missiles, so that's why I'm reloading those right now. I'll go ahead and try and put some drones out. They just are ridiculously aggressive against drones in this site, so I probably see he's already targeting the drones and he's got the shields completely down, so hopefully they'll be able to get back to the drone bay before they die. But yeah, that's why I was a little reluctant to even pull drones. It looks like maybe something was webbing it. I'm not really sure. Maybe not. But yeah, you can see I just had those drones out for barely a couple seconds and almost lost a heavy drone. So, you know, if you want to try this site in a drone boat, more power to you, but you're probably going to be very frustrated, I would imagine, constantly pulling your drones in or losing drones. So with that battle cruiser off grid, most of the DPS is fairly manageable here. Like I said, these precision missiles, these precision heavy missiles, are real nice for the smaller ships, especially when you have the precision script loaded in your computer. I do also have a missile guidance computer in one of my low slots. That's in addition to 2 ballistic controls. Now you might want to put a 3rd ballistic control if you were ratting in a site, for instance, that had more larger ships. So there's only 1 battleship in this site. So I felt like application would be more of an issue than raw DPS. That's why I went with 2 ballistic controls and 1 missile guidance enhancer. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to use these drones to take down this cruiser, and now we're getting, destroyer, but now we're getting in the second wave anyways. So now I'm glad that I did load the Fury missiles, because we got actually another battle cruiser here. I will see if I can take this guy down while these ships are going to be warping away and then to me. So it'll take them a few minutes, or not a few minutes, a few seconds to get here before I can lock them up and start applying some DPS. So I'm going to save. I'm not going to start shooting this guy right now because I've got, like I said, I've got this battle cruiser that I know is going to put out a lot of DPS. There's also a logistics ship. I think really just depending on which one I can get locked up first here, I'll probably go for. Oh, and we got the E-Warrior one. So this is particularly, I guess, dangerous spawn. I think it'll be okay though. I am going to go for this one first, actually, because it does do missile guidance disruptor and it does tracking disruption. So basically, whether you come into this site with a turret-based ship, a missile-based ship, or a drone-based ship, you're going to be facing some challenges from either E-War or just, you know, outright raw drone aggression. So I think I can bust through this battle cruiser even with the reps that he's going to be getting from this logistics cruiser. So I'm going to go ahead and do that if I can, because it's going to take quite a bit of my cap to rep through his damage. We'll see. I may actually even overheat here for these last few volleys, and it doesn't look like I'm actually going to get him down. So unfortunately, I will have to tank his damage while I reload. I probably could have taken down this logistics cruiser, so that may have been a better choice there. But we'll get both of them with this next reload, and I still have enough cap that I should be able to rep through this just fine. If it really gets down to it, I have a damage control fit, so I've got a decent amount of buffer in my structure. One interesting thing to note here is that if you periodically check, so you can see 37% EM resist in the armor, right? Or the armor resistance here. When I did a Google search, the Equilibrium of Mankind rats are supposed to deal primarily kinetic 75% and thermal 25% damage. So one thing you'll know though, if you've done these event sites before, is that they're not always as predictable as like a regular combat site. So if you found these in a combat site, it would probably be all kinetic and thermal damage. But what I've noticed here is the destroyers do EM damage, the frigates do explosive damage, and then these primarily DPS ships will do thermal and kinetic, as you can see. So I do have a kinetic armor hardener here. I also have a kinetic rig, so I do have a good resist against kinetic damage. I also fit an explosive rig, really because, like I said, I didn't want to leave a huge hole open since, one, these sites are sometimes kind of unpredictable in terms of what you're going to get. Also, why I fit a cap booster instead of a cap charger. You know, again, it's just if I can predict how much damage I'm going to take, how much neuting pressure I'm going to take, I might go with a cap recharger instead of a cap booster. But it's hard to predict. Like, for instance, the first like 3 or 4 sites I ran, there were no battle cruisers in the first room, and then the last 2 times, there's been battle cruisers in both waves in the first room. So while I'm taking down this last one, just a couple more things. I've got this micro jump drive, primarily just as an escape mechanism, in case you know, somehow, some way, a tackle ship from a hostile gang made it in here and tried to tackle me. It would be one way I could escape neuting a tackle ship. Could also be another way for me to escape. And then, as you can see, I'm in standing fleet, and like I said, I fit a damage control, and I don't have a huge resist hole, so I may be able to last long enough for standing fleet to get here if I W up in fleet or X up in fleet. So there's 2 waves in this room. I'm gonna put out the light drones right as I'm hitting sort of this last volley, and see if I can get this ship off the grid.
A module has run out of charges.
But like I said, these things have just been absolutely brutal with drones. So you know, I'll try and pull them in individually as they get targeted, but I really don't want to lose a drone right now. So it looks like he's already switching aggro. Alright, let's get this guy in real quick. So he'll probably start targeting another drone, but it looks like it's possible we take him down before I finish reload. Nope. Oh, yep. Oh, that was a close one. Alright, cool. So, gonna recall my drones. I'm gonna let my cap recharge for just a little bit. I'd like to be around 1/3 or about 33%. We got our missiles loaded. So the next room will have another warp disrupt tower. So that's going to be what I go for first. And then we'll just see what comes in that wave. Like I said, there's a cruiser that does missile guidance disruption and tracking disruption. There can be 1, sometimes 2 logistics cruisers. And unfortunately, with the battleship, if things get a little dicey, this will not help me because the battleship has a warp scrambler. It's not just a warp disruptor, he has a warp scrambler, so he will be able to deactivate my micro, or my large micro jump drive. So I'm going to lock this up immediately. As well as this, I'm going to take this down to get rid of our warp disruption here, just in case I need to get off of grid. I'm going to go ahead and start aligning out, just in case. Might see some kind of hostile gang in intel or something, and I might need to get off grid. But it looks like we've got, let's see here, we got the Sanctifier, the E-War Cruiser, and the Logistics Cruiser. So I'll go ahead and take the E-War Cruiser's really close, so I'm going to go ahead and take him down. They don't have a ton of tank, so Victoria's luxury yacht on D-scan, that's okay. That's not really a threat to us at all. Probably was, it's definitely the friendly. So we're good. So I'm gonna see if I can get close to this ship. Probably won't have much luck because I'm being webbed, but while I reload, I just want to see if I can take him down with these heavies. But like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and withdraw this one right away, just because of how quickly I know these rats will take down drones. So I mean, this might have been a mistake right now in terms of not wanting to lose a drone, because you could see these frigates with webs switched right onto the drones, but luckily I was close, so they survived. So there'll be one more wave after this, and then there will be a battleship, which, unlike the previous events where the loot drop was from the battleship, in this site, when you kill the battleship, this fortified EOM rogue capital shipyard, you'll be able to destroy that, and that's where your loot drop will be.
Has run out of charges.
So I'm gonna attack these frigates with these drones right now, just because they're really close, and so as soon as they start taking damage, I can just immediately withdraw them. But yeah, I mean, you can see how quickly, how quickly they get attacked. I feel bad for anybody that is trying to do these in a drone boat. So again, like, we'll take a look at this. You can see explosive resist here, and that's coming from these holy binder frigates. Just real quick, pull up this. So 30%, 35% versus 40%, 25% in terms of their resists. So this is a decent amount of nuding ships, and they're pretty small, so I'm not too concerned about them surviving due to reps from this Logi cruiser. But yeah, I'd prefer not to have 3 newts on me. So it looked like that guy did survive, and that's because I have been using a lot the precision missiles on these smaller ships, and the damage application is much better. So those were the Fury missiles. Those are the high damage missiles that are really meant for larger ships like battle cruisers and battleships. So when the battleship does spawn, I will be switching back to Fury missiles, but as you can see, they're not that great against the smaller ships. Um, I'm going to go ahead and try and take this guy down again, see if I can avoid using a cap booster. So much better that time. You can just see how those precision missiles are just chewing through these smaller ships. Getting all that new pressure off is good. So I'm going to go ahead and take down this logistics cruiser now. Could potentially justify taking down these other DPS destroyers, seeing as, you know, I'm getting pretty low on cap here. I mean, prefer not to take a cap booster if I don't have to, but you know, that's kind of like the good thing about having it, is that when you end up getting hit by that extra large nuding wave, you've got something you can fall back on.
A module has run out of charges.
So yeah, I just no luck at all. Look at all with these drones, man. It's brutal. I mean, if I could have even left them out there for just like 10 seconds, you know, that would have been good. Although I guess the good thing about it is that it is helping me with my tank, right? So I guess that's something you can do with these drones, is just get the DPS off of you. So here comes the battleship. So this is pretty good. He's far enough away where he'll probably warp off and then warp back, so that'll give me time to reload. Uh-oh. I just noticed I don't have a full load of Fury missiles. So this is gonna be messy. I almost thought about going back and reloading my missiles, and it looks like that would have been a good idea. But here we are, and let's see what happens. So if I have a full load of Fury missiles, I can take down this battleship in one go. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. I'm going to go ahead and overheat. So you can see just landed the scram.
A module has run out of charges.
So it looks like I'll be using the faction missiles to finish him off. We're also going to have to wait through a reload, which is not great since we've got a cloaky camper in system. But that just goes to show how, you know, making sure you're fully prepared with all the appropriate quantities of ammo, it can be very helpful to your survival and success. So this was all a teaching moment that I totally planned. Okay, so like I said, once he goes down, we've got our loot in this crate over here. Essentially, we've crippled EOM operations, which I guess is good, because from what I understand, when I did a little bit of research on them, they want to the equilibrium of mankind, essentially, as far as I could tell, means annihilating mankind. But we get this nice reward too. We'll see what it is. I've gotten some skins, some agency boosters. Usually there's overseer effects. Like I said, I've checked a number of these battleships, and it's like scrap metal. Essentially, is what's in there. Unlike past events where all of the loot has been in the battleships, in this one, it seems like all of the loot is here. So I might just let these drones take this down, but I see that there's a Hecate gang in VTech L, which is kind of close to here, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this blown up and get off of grid as quickly as possible. One Hecate I might not be too worried about, but multiple Hecates definitely could mean a bad day. So yeah, overseer effects, that's pretty good. I've not seen one that high before. Hard shell, Capsuleer Glamorex booster, which I believe improves standings. Did I loot that? Oh jeez. Alright, there we go. Loot the reward. You earned it, so don't just warp off. Okay, so that was pretty good. Like I said, I've been able to take down, when I've brought the appropriate number of missiles, I've been able to take down that battleship with one reload plus the heavy drones. Sometimes you'll have like those destroyers will be left on grid when the battleship spawns, and then that means essentially that it's hard to use the drones because the destroyers will be trying to kill them. So I'll just pop up the fitting real quick and go over the fittings. So rapid heavies, if you're using the T2 ones, you can fit the Fury missiles for larger ships and the precision missiles for smaller ships. Like I said, I've got a missile guidance enhancer for enhanced range and precision. Instead of, like, if there was 8 battleships on that site, I'd probably put a third ballistic control instead of the missile guidance enhancer. But there's only one battleship. So I've also got a missile guidance computer, so you can switch out for precision or range as needed. Cap booster for protection against energy nukes. The large armor repper, we're getting 1058 HP repaired every 11.3 seconds. That is in conjunction with this large auxiliary nano pump. And then we've got the kinetic armor reinforcer, explosive armor reinforcer. You can see that if we open the simulation here, kinetic is the highest resist. The Typhoon just has a naturally high EM damage resist, and then these are approximately even. Like I said, I didn't want to leave a huge explosive hole because you kind of have to jump around sometimes to find these sites. And if a Cloaky Loki type hunter catches you, he's almost certainly going to be using explosive missiles, assuming that as a Radar and Aquarius, all of your resists are going to be in EM, and thermal, and you will have a giant explosive hole. So that's, our primary objective in fitting this ship is, of course, doing the PvE site, but you're in nullsec, so you're going to be hunted, you're going to run into hostile gangs, and it's nice just to have some preparation for that in terms of the newt, the micro jump drive. You get some buffer here with the damage control, gives you time to X up or W up in fleet and maybe get some help. There's usually people in standing fleet that are just dying to find some PvP action, so the more time you can give them to get to you, the better for you in terms of surviving, and the better for them in terms of getting a good fight or just chasing something off. Either way, that's it. Good luck if you give this a shot. If you have any other questions, feel free to mail me in game Faust Ellecon or send me a message on Slack. Thanks for watching.